Hey everybody, it's Dan and Angela.
Hi guys.
Hey, we just wanted to do a short video. We're out here in Anacortes, Washington, and it's just beautiful. I don't know if you can see the water behind us. There's ships and everything out there. It's really incredible. We're at this Ship Harbor Inn. You can check it out. Kind of a cool little building.
Can't really see it too much. That's the back side of it.
Anyway, we wanted to do a short little video. We were on the 6 screens last night, and we were asking a question. Did you have something you wanted to say?
Yeah, just that they have that speaker going on.
Oh, they got the boat speakers going, telling everybody they've landed. They've come in from, what was that? What harbor?
Friday Harbor.
Friday Harbor. It's San Juan Island. So there's 3 islands out there, and you get to tour and go to them.
Yeah, so where we're at is on kind of on the end of an island, kind of off of Washington, and then off from there, these boats go off to these little smaller, even little islands. Friday Harbor is one of them, and anyway, they're called the San Juan Islands, and I'm sure some of you guys know about it, but anyways, boats go out there and then come back, and it's just a nice little ride. It got some neat restaurants over there and shopping and whatnot.
Pretty cheap, too.
Yeah, it's really fun, and then just right over there is Canada, Vancouver.
Vancouver,
so
Canada.
You could go, in fact, these boats will take you there. So it's kind of neat, you know. We haven't done that yet, but
I know.
One day we will.
It'll be nice.
Yeah.
But anyway, guys, we wanted to ask you a question, you know, and we asked this last night on the 6 screens, kind of late at night. But we were asking people, when they were in, what we called the truth, when we were in the Kingdom Hall and Jehovah's Witnesses, I wanted to ask you, did you ever feel like you really loved Jehovah? I mean, I was in there and I felt like I was doing what I needed to do, to appease a very angry God. I was doing what I needed to do to get to paradise, right?
Yeah.
We were going door to door and, you were being told it's not enough. Did you go out this one month that had 5 weekends in it? And did you pioneer? And, you're not commenting in your own words. There were so many things. I always felt like, in a way, like there was a gun to my head. And I wonder how you fall in love with a God that has to have a gun to our head, that always has to either serve me or else.
Yeah, and Dan, just in my religion, Worldwide Church of God, which is half Jehovah's Witness, half Jewish, same thing. We had to keep the Saturday Sabbath. It had to be from Friday night to Sunday, Friday night sundown to Saturday night sundown, and you can't do anything on that day. All these rules about it and everything, and then you got to keep these Jewish holy days, and they got to be kept just right. You got to get out of work, and you can't work, and on and on and on. And again, if you don't you don't tithe just right, you don't do the child rearing just right, on and on and on.
Wow.
You're not acceptable to God. And you guys called him Jehovah. We called him God. Anyway, it was just interesting. You always feel like God's not happy with you. Your dad's always worried if you did something wrong, that he thinks, okay, well, the reason why our car broke down is because God's mad at us, because I sinned, because I did this or I did that, or did something wrong on the Sabbath or something. Always worried that you're doing something wrong that's causing anything that's going wrong. I mean, what a way to live. I'm telling you, there's no way to live like that. And that's not the God I know now.
No.
Not at all.
And that's the thing. So how do you know God? I knew him through fear. Yeah, and I guess the first day I really came to know God was when I left the Kingdom Hall throughout the week, because he didn't kill me. I was told, if I left, all these things, were going to happen, a pig returning to its mire. I mean, I really was fearful,
you
know.
Talk about the one time you went to the first church after you got out of there. Yeah, tell me about that.
I went to this spiritual place, and I thought my hand was going to burn off. I grabbed the door, and I really did think my hand was going to burn off because, this is the world empire of false religion, Babylon the Great, and I was entering in.
And you thought Joe was going to strike you dead, didn't you?
Yeah. And so, but what I realized very, very quickly was that God loved me. I still had my job. I still had wonderful friends. I made some friends in the world that were like, wow, they helped me out. They did incredible things with me. They supported me. They were right there. They said, we'll never abandon you. These were worldly people. And right then, I knew God loved me. And then, coming to places like this, these beautiful places where there's beautiful water and nature, and there's deer all over the place here.
Flowers of every kind.
Flowers of every kind.
And at night, everything just chirps and sings, and every kind of thing is chirping and singing, and you just know that they're just thanking God and loving on God, because it's always same time every night, and faithfully.
Yes.
It's wonderful.
Yes.
Just wonderful.
So that speaks to you. And, that speaks to me and Angela when we get on these little short breaks and we come out here. It's about 550 miles from our house. And it just, nature speaks to you. And like Angela said, the birds are singing every night and giving thanks. And think of it, when does God ever not provide air, not provide water, not provide food? Yeah, it's funny, we all eat out of the same ground, we're warmed by the same sun, and we think God doesn't love us. We think he's angry and vengeful and jealous and all these things that they make him out to be. I don't believe in that anymore, and that wasn't healthy. And honestly, being a witness near the end almost killed me because I had this perception of this God that I could never please. And so, like I said, when I got out, it was the most amazing thing. I said, wow, he hasn't killed me. I was literally going like this. I said last night, I thought a hand was going to come over my car and pull me out.
And how many years has it been now?
Now it's 23, 22.
Okay, so we've been together, we've been married 18, together 19, 22, about 23 years.
Yeah, and then God put this beautiful woman in my life. And
24, you're 24.
And I'm blessed, And, he was looking out for me, or she was looking out for me, whatever you want to call it.
He's looking out for me too, trust me, I was in trouble.
But both of us, and we found each other and made a life together, and it's been beautiful. And that's the same thing I think God holds out for all of us. We don't have to hold those old images of an angry God. And, God doesn't need to hold a gun to our head for us to worship him, does he?
No.
I mean, to say, worship me or else, that's Hitler. That's... psychotic people that have to force you to twist your arm and threaten you. If you leave, the organization, you're going to die. I can't help it. But when I saw my brother the last time, down in Michigan, that was his message to me. Jehovah's going to kill you. And I said, boy, that's a nice message to tell me. I haven't seen you in years. Jehovah's going to kill you. You spoke about him.
His mother said when she was dying, Jehovah's going to kill me. Jehovah's going to kill me.
Yeah, same thing when my mother was dying. Jehovah's going to kill me. Jehovah's going to kill me. And I'm thinking, man, how can you love a God like that? And I just wondered if you've ever thought about that. If you've ever just kind of sat back and said, wow, did I really ever love God? Because, it says in the Bible, love God with your whole heart, mind, and soul, and then love your neighbor as yourself. And I got to thinking, and I thought, man, I never did. 40 years, all I know is I was afraid of God. I was afraid of an angry God, and I was just appeasing that God, by doing all the things Watchtower said to do. And I never did enough, as most of you guys have felt too.
Talking about an angry Jehovah and all that, and the way that people act when they're following when you think that someone is mad at you all the time, and you have an attitude like everyone around you is not right with God, and you're judging them all the time. Well, then guess what? Oddly, you're judging yourself all the time then too. And so, interesting. A friend of mine that's an ex-Jehovah's Witness. She went to a memorial of a 90-year-old woman, even though she's been faded for a long, long time. And her very best friend that she met at age 8 in the church, in the faith. I don't want to call it in the faith because it's not the faith. Anyway, but she had known this girl forever and ever. Well, then she started fading, and her girlfriend just started shunning her. It was cold as ice. Well, she went to this memorial, and knowing that this girl was going to be there, and she's friends with her daughter. Well, she saw her, and she just looked at her like this hate and disgust. And my friend said, hey, how you doing? Susie, I'm just going to use a fake name. And she goes, yeah, and just real cold, and she says, well, it's great to see you. And she says, right, this is kind of weird, this is really strange. And then she just turned around and walked away. And they were once best friends only because she faded. She didn't do anything wrong. She's not been disfellowship, hadn't gotten in any kind of trouble, none of it, just shunning her because she's faded. And like she said to me today, she's like, well, what if I just decided that, I was thinking about going back? Is that a good way to treat me? It's like, man, I know I don't ever want to go back there now. She says, I think about it every once in a while, as Dan did for several years, because brothers would just taunt him. You need to get back in the faith. And they just give him a really hard time about the fact that he's not going anymore. But anyway, she thought, that's not a way to win anybody. And if I was thinking about coming back and I was starting to get weak and thinking about it, this is no way. And so anyway, kind of interesting, because again, the same mean, mad God turns you into a mean, mad person. that
Yeah.
acts the same way, and it's just how it works.
Yeah, because when you really think about it, if you break up with a girlfriend or a boyfriend, right,
Yeah.
and you really love them, what do? You conspire to get them back.
Right.
If somebody says, "Well, I'm walking away, I'm out of here," you don't just go have a meeting with your mom and dad and say, "She's gone. By God, she's gone. Never talk to her again." You say, "My God," you go to your parents, your family, and say, "What do we got to do to get them back?" Well, as witnesses, that we're supposed to be like this family. We should be conspiring. Oh my God, she left. How'd she leave? Did anybody
Don't you
talk
suppose
to her?
God's conspiring to get us back in? I'm
Yeah,
just saying,
good
because,
point.
it's like certainly that girl is not trying to figure out any way to try to help the situation in any way or help this woman in any way. She was cold as ice, just like the God she serves. Mean, mad Jehovah. I'm just saying. It's like, that's not the...
Yeah, they become like the God
Right.
that they say
it's
is.
like, wow. It's just shocking to me. And I'll tell you what, that's a mean, mad, all kinds of people that I'm starting to see now coming through the woodworks. They're just mean.
Do you know how many people they could turn around if, say, you saw somebody getting in trouble, you saw them going the other way, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And everybody got together and said, "Hey, come on, man, come on, John or Jim or whoever,"
Yeah.
and had a little party and said, "We love you," and everybody hugged them and said, "Where are you going? What are you doing? Is there anything we can help you with? We support you." Yeah, what a difference.
Oh, what a difference, that's
than
right.
this hate that you go through. We know that's man. That's man. Hate is man. When somebody hates you, you know what I mean?
Yes.
When you leave and they say no family, no nothing, that's worse than a spanking. And even this too, I was thinking, if you were going to get shunned, why not just a week? Why not somebody say, "Look, hey, I know you're going through some stuff. Take a month off.
Yeah.
Take a month off and then come back and talk to us and, see how you feel then." And let them go and maybe send them a card or something and say, "Hey, man, we're thinking about you. How you doing?" Because he may have fallen through the cracks already or something might have happened.
Yeah.
But then, that would be a way. And then when he comes back, you don't put him in the back of the Kingdom Hall for 2 to 10 years, guys. 2 to 10 years. And there is a lot of suffering in that, to sit in the back of the hall quarantined
It's torture.
for 2 to 10 years.
As
I mean,
everybody knows. We're telling you what they already know.
I know. Everybody looking back and, and then you write a letter and they reject it. They say, "No, you need more works that befit repentance." And
Everybody knows
it's
this
sickening.
stuff
I
again.
know. I know.
But you know what? This girl, she's just trying to do what she thinks Jehovah would have her to do. Am I right? I mean, is that when my mom shuns me? Same thing. She thinks that's what God would have her to do, right?
Yeah.
In my church, it's like
Yeah.
somehow shun her and treat her bad and give her a hard time and cut her down and condemn her and all this. And somehow she'll come back. It's like, to me, that is not any
No,
kind of church
you're
or
not
God that
coming
you
back.
serve that I want to ever go
When
to
somebody
ever.
treats you really, really bad, like say you broke up with a boyfriend and he just ignored you everywhere, you would be like, "I'm not going after him. This is crazy." You know what I
Right,
mean? I'm done.
right.
Yeah, just somebody that would write you off. And that's what witnesses do. They write us off. You know what I mean?
Turn this thing this way a little bit so you can see the water. It's pretty. The sunset's pretty. Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, that's really nice. Isn't that
Anyway,
pretty,
guys, yeah, I'll see if I can get it up higher. Maybe you could see out there. Whoops, I don't know.
That's a
Maybe
little
not.
bit. Yeah. You're getting it a little bit, Dan.
See,
Isn't that pretty? That's so gorgeous. Such a beautiful night. It's starting to get a little bit cold, but such beautiful everything. Birds. It's a little fireplace. We're gonna try to get them to let us turn on in a little while. It's electric. It's not real. Anyway,
guys, we just wanted to say hi to you. Whoops,
Yep.
let me adjust this thing. There we go. Now we got you.
all right.
All right. Well, thanks, guys, for listening in. But
Yep.
think about that. God, we should want to love. We should want to fall in love. We should fall in love with God. We should never have to have a gun. I should never have to have a gun to my head to be with Angela. You know what I mean? It should be, I want to be with Angela. And it's the same way,
It is the same way. It's the
You know,
same.
and it's not to get anything. It's just because you love that person and you want to help that person.
Yes, and when they're going through a hard time or a screwing up, what do you do? I mean, do you just throw them away? As a husband, if I were to start going down some really bad road because, I don't know, because my mom killed herself or some crazy thing, something like that, would it be that like he's just going to run away from me and say, I can't deal with you? You know, you're a loser. You're going downhill. And now you're drinking. Now you're just like, I'm just done with you. Is that what he would
No
do?
way.
No way. And I just think that's the way the Jehovah's Witnesses are acting like that God should do to us. When we start going downhill, we start drinking, we start getting in trouble because we're depressed or whatever it is that we're doing, that we expect that Jehovah is going, for me, God, is just going to leave us. He's going to throw us away and be done with us. Well, everybody knows the marriage is symbolic of our relationship with God. And so that is just not how it works. It just isn't. So something is really wrong in my church and in the Jehovah's Witness faith and many others, because that's not how God is. And that's not how my husband treats me, and that's not how I would treat him. I would stick it out thick and thin because I love him, and I want to see him get well, and I'm going to pray for him, and I'm going to do everything I can to help because I love. And so love comes from God, and if you're following the wrong way, then love begins to fade from you.
Or there never is love.
Or there never is, right? Because, well, when you first come in there, I suppose, right?
Yeah.
But then it starts to fade, right, Dan?
Yep.
Because you're being continuously shown how to be mean to others, shun others, fear others, condemn others, judge others, and pretty soon, there's no love coming out. It's just judgment towards yourself and others. And that's the sign that you're following the wrong way, the wrong God. That's not what God is. There's nothing in any nature or any relationship that's symbolic of God and his relationship with us that would represent that that's how God is. That's not how God is. So anyway, I'm very convinced. I hope that we're a little bit convincing to you tonight that that's not what it's all about. That's not what's going on here. That's not the real God that made us and loves us. So.
All right then, guys. I think that's about it tonight. We just had a long drive, so we're going to just cut it a little short. But thanks for tuning in. And if you think it was beneficial, please pass it on. All right. Talk to you guys later.
All right,
Talk to you soon. We love you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.